Hello, once again, and welcome back to another amazing episode of E2E Expert to Experts, where we bring you the world's best experts. And today is going to be an exciting episode because we are going to dive into a practical, specific expertise. So, I want to start on with this. Have you ever wondered what is the meaning of sustainability? Normally, we think about this of something about recycling, saving the planet, and things like that. Today, our guest is going to dive deep and explain to us what is her meaning of sustainability and how she does this. As I told you, as you understood, this is an amazing lady. This is the one and only Lisa Phillips. Hello, Lisa. How are you doing?
Hello. What a great introduction. That was amazing. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Lisa. Lisa, I'm fascinated from how you previously described to me what sustainability is for you. So, would you like to explain this to our audience? What is sustainability for you, and why are you the specialist of sustainability?
Okay, so so many people think of sustainability in business as well, but also outside of business. But from my perspective in business, that they think it's about saving waste, not wasting, and recycling and kind of doing good things for the planet. Whereas what I believe sustainability is actually sits on 4 pillars. So I'm talking about the sustainability of making sure that your business is sustainable. So it's kind of what is best for all, what is best for the business, what is best for your team, what is best for your client, and what is best for the planet. And it's got to kind of fit all of those criteria. And that's what makes a really sustainable business. And that means everything you do in your business has got to align and be the best for all of them.
So, just say them again: business, team.
Business, your team, your clients, so your community, your clients and community, and for the planet.
Okay. So, just to give a quick recap, your definition of sustainability is number one, business, number two, your team, number three, your clients and community, and then number four, you said is the planet, correct?
Yes. Yep. Spot on.
Okay. Okay. Um, and when you talk about planet and when you talk about community, these are kind of specific words that normally we don't hear them so much in the business world. So, you are the founder of the Salon Soul community. What is all this about?
So I believe really the word that runs through all of this is kindness. Is if we can just really stop and think before we make a decision, to come from a place of kindness. What is the kind thing to do? What is the kind thing to say? And I think we get so caught up in running our business that often we react rather than take action. So the reason I set up the Salon Soul community was not just to teach people about sustainability, but it was to bring salon owners together that wanted to get their life back in running their business. And I believe that kindness runs through that. That's how you get the joy back in running your business. Kindness to the planet. Yes, that does involve making sure you're not wasting, making sure that you are recycling as much as you can, making sure that, for us, it's about not bringing more toxins into the world, but trying to reduce the amount of toxins that we're using. And kind of educating clients in my, salon owners in the Salon Soul community about there is other choices. But then the kindness in the other pillars, your clients, thinking about your clients, be kind to them, just find out what they really want and try and give them what they really want and educate them on the fact that they can go and get their hair done. They can have an amazing 5-star service, but we don't have to have toxins, and we can still reduce the waste and also run a really successful business that still provides profit. And that runs through all those pillars. So I just wanted to bring salon owners together, because there's so much confusion about, many people say, if I try to become sustainable, then it's going to cost my business more money. And actually it doesn't. You can actually make more money by being sustainable. So it's bringing them all together, really helping them get that compelling vision and create a salon legacy. And for me, it all goes back to kindness. So that's how you get that sustainability.
This is a very interesting perspective. Thank you for sharing that. And now, for those of you who have just joined us now, or you are listening this now, this is a special, not ordinary podcast where we have an expert in a specific niche, and this niche is the salon industry. You see, the beauty industry is made of a lot of different types of branches, and now we are talking specifically how you, as an expert, you can help other people who have got salons. So tell me more about you. For how long have you been running your salon, and what have been the three major lessons you have learned from your practice?
So I've had my salon for 15 years, but I've been in the industry over 35 years, and I'm going to whisper that because it shows my age. And I've worked in all aspects of this industry, you know, from working on film sets and video promos and running academies and, you know, managing salons. That when I decided to then open my salon, it was about making sure that, you know, my team were really looked after and supported so that they could excel in their career within my business. And you know, I've learned a lot of challenges when it was actually me running my business. That really changed it, because, you know, you think that you have to lead by example. But the problem is that you think in the beginning that means from running a busy column and serving as many clients as you can, that your team are going to follow suit and follow you doing that. But what I learned as a salon owner is that that isn't the way to run a business. That isn't the way to actually lead your team or actually grow your business, because you just do not have the time if you are constantly sitting behind the chair. And I think the other thing that I really learned was that, you know, you can put systems in place that you don't have to necessarily do them. As long as you educate your team, they run your systems for you, that allows you to step back and gives you more time and freedom. And I always sort of thought, having my own business, that, you know, gosh, if they see me not working and they see me not doing these clients, they're not going to think I'm a good leader. That was a big mistake number one, definitely. And yes, I think the other thing was really creating that vision and sticking to that vision. You know, the moment I realized that it's okay to be a bit different, it's okay to want something different, but you need to stick to it in everything you do. You know, if we're going to be known for the most sustainable salon, which we are, by the way, now, which is great, but if you are, you have to stick to that so that your team then stick to it and everybody's working on the same page. So it's keeping the message really congruent all the way through your business.
Okay. So obviously, the answers you're giving justify why you are the expert in this area. But why salon? Why you? And why sustainability? Why?
Okay, well, let me take you back to about 2000 and, well, it's 2010 when I started the business. And I always knew that I wanted to make it, like I said, a kind environment. So we were looking for sustainable products then, but not many were out. It was quite hard to find that. And I was working long hours on the shop floor. And then it took me until 2016 when I find myself in a hospital. And I'm not the patient, but I'm standing waiting to get results for my loved one. And unfortunately, the doctor told me that my mum would never walk again. which meant it put me into a complete state of shock, because who was going to help look after her when I'm running a business? I was working 40 hours a week. I was doing the wages at weekend. I was doing all the hours I could. And I had 2 young children and a husband as well. And I just didn't know how I was going to do it. So I carried on running my business and trying to go. I mean, I'm not saying I was a carer. We did have to get a carer, but trying to be there for my mum with my sister. And that wasn't easy, because I did manage to do it, but I managed to do it with a new best friend, a bottle of Chardonnay, which meant that I was going home every single night and probably downing a bottle of wine while I was trying to do the wages and work out the voters. And then I'd go to work and do a fully booked column the next day. And then I'd go and see my mum. And on my day off, I'd try and see her, and I'd go home and drink a bottle of wine. And then the point really happened around about late 2017, when one day my husband came in and I was sitting at the computer doing the wages, and enough was enough for him. He just said that he saw I was pretty much drunk, and potentially every night I'd end up falling asleep on the sofa. So we had no life. You know, my business was completely my life, as well as caring for my mum and my kids. And he just said he didn't feel that he could continue anymore with this. So I had to make a decision. It was him or the alcohol. And actually, he was right, because if I hadn't given up, I would have ended up losing my business, losing my husband. I wasn't really present for anybody in my life. So it was that moment that I realized I could lose everything unless I did decide to give up the alcohol. So I did. And it also made me realize that actually I had to come out of my business. I had to step off the shop floor, no longer cut hair, come out of the business and see it as that CEO above my business as to what really needed to happen. And that's exactly what I did. I went back in and I literally came off the shop floor within a day and just said, I'm no longer doing clients. And yeah, it wasn't easy. You know, some of my clients were like, who's going to cut my hair? Because you've always cut my hair for like 20 odd years. But because I knew the end goal of what I wanted to save my marriage. I wanted to save my business. I wanted to create that compelling career for my team, that I did manage to say, I've got to do this. I've got to follow that vision. And that vision had been to have a sustainable business, but I wasn't doing it. It wasn't sustainable for me, for the business, for my team, for my family, for my clients. So I put in systems that meant we really dived into the sustainability, found a real good product that was non-toxic. We implemented systems that we charged our clients to implement those sustainable systems. We made way more profit with me no longer working on the shop floor, which was just amazing. My team thrived. They took control. They run the business for me, and they loved it because they felt empowered, because they actually had a positive leader to follow now. They were inspired by what I'd done. Rather than me just constantly cutting hair, they actually really took note and listened to me. And so they stepped up. Everybody did. And I'd like to tell you that I actually saved my marriage. So I now am still married, have a business that is really profitable. We win lots of awards. We win awards for sustainability. We've got real clear systems of how to implement that. And I haven't been drinking for 4 years now. So coming into my 4th
Congratulations.
year. So yeah, it's
Congratulations.
knowing that big one. It was that moment that I had to make the decision. What do I really want? And once I got clear about that and created that vision, everything else fell into place.
And as you know, I'm Italian, and in Italy, Monday is the day where all the hair salons, the beauticians, all of them are closed. So when I was younger, Sunday evening was the evening where all the clubs were open for all salon, beauticians, and everything. And I can tell you, the amount um, of destructive behavior on the Sundays was out of order. I mean, literally getting wasted, kind of unplugging themselves from something, escaping from something for a couple of hours before you go back again into Tuesday to Saturday, where you're working every single day non-stop. So, is this a common thread in the industry?
Oh my goodness, 100%. I mean, right up until, until I had my own business, gosh, I would definitely be somebody that would be out on a Sunday evening. Do you know what I mean? Because the shops were not open on a Monday. Our salon does open on a Monday. I think times have changed. You know, salons do open on a Monday now. However, yes, it pretty much runs like that. That as a hairdresser, you are giving all the time to your clients. You know, you're constantly and you just feel like, you know, you've got to be on your A game when you're at work. So if you're not working the next day, you go out and drink. And I think as a salon owner, if your salon is shut on the Monday, then of course you're like, oh great, I don't have to be in my A game. I can go out on a Sunday evening. Doesn't matter if I'm hungover. Yeah, it really, really is. But I think it's just getting that mindset around, you know, because that was my problem. My brain was so full of everything that I had to do and serving my clients, trying to give the best, that it was the drinking that numbed it. The drinking that gave me that escapism. And I think that's what hairdressers do as well. You know, they just want to switch off that chatter because they're talking all day and they're having to think about their craft, and it's a high fashion industry, so they're constantly thinking about the next thing. You know, they don't ever get that downtime. So when they do have that day where they're not at work the next day, they like to party, definitely. So yeah, but I think it's changing. I do definitely think it's changing, because a lot of my team nowhere near drink as much as what I remember when I was, you know, a hairdresser in another salon.
So it's still common, and it's still kind of something where it's an escape.
100% for salon owners. Definitely salon owners that I meet, when I first meet them and tell them my story, you know, they say, oh my goodness, I'd love to not drink, but it's my savior, it's my like downtime, and it switches my brain off. But when I actually show them there's another way that you can, you know, like I'm very big into teaching people meditation and journaling, and, you know, actually really kind of enjoying their business, getting that joy back in their business, that when they create new dreams, new goals, that they can get excited about it and not overload their brain. They kind of then can see there is a way of doing it. You know, I think we try to do everything. We're so used to being busy on the shop floor that as a salon owner, we take that as normal and we think it's okay to be like that. And it isn't okay to be like that, because you end up doing things half-heartedly. You end up firefighting rather than strategically planning what you want to do ahead and just saying, as long as I do one step closer, that's all that matters. I'm one step closer to that goal, rather than having to achieve that big goal. They don't overload their brain so much. So therefore, there's not that desire to numb their brain. There's that desire to want to do the next step because they see the results, you know, and that's the game changer. But yeah, many salon owners I first meet are in that trap of working on the shop floor, trying to run their business, trying to please everyone, but they don't please themselves. The only way they do that is with their bottle of wine. Yeah.
Okay. So many salon owners feel stuck working long hours, correct?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
how can they create a business that runs profitably without them being on the floor every day? What are your three biggest tips on this?
So the first tip that I teach is to make sure that you have documented all the jobs that need to be done in your salon. So you know exactly what needs to be done in your salon. Imagine if you weren't there, how they would do it, you know, what jobs need to be done. And then it's about, you know, with that, once you know that, who can you assign those jobs to? Who can you train to do that job instead of you doing it, so that you're freeing yourself away from that business? The next step is to make sure that when you're doing your pricing structure, when you're working out, you know, how much you're going to be charging for your services, that you have put your wages in there, as well as putting the profit in there. Make sure that you put your wages as a salon owner, but not as an income producing from your clients, just the wage it would cost you to hire another manager to run your salon if you weren't there. So that now you're charging your clients correctly for the right prices to cover your salary, so you don't need to do the clients, so that everybody else is doing the clients, but it's covering your wage as the salon owner. Because that's the one thing that many people forget. They think that they can't put that extra cost in. Well, you've got to charge that onto your clients, because you need the leader, the CEO of that business to run it. And if you weren't there, you'd have to get somebody else in to do it, and you'd have to pay them a salary. And then the next one is potentially be that leader that is driving the business forward. So that, you know, if you imagine, if you are in the business, you aren't seeing the future vision. So once you know that your business is bringing the money in to cover, it makes you step back, that you can then look at what everybody else needs to be doing, so that they're running the business for you and you're looking at ways to grow it further forward. Because then you're going to be happy, your clients are going to be happy, and not only that, but your team are going to be happy. Because if they are working for a business that is going forward, then they don't want to leave you. They want to stay with you. They can see that career path in front of them. And if you're stuck in the business, you can't do that. You know, you just haven't got the time, the mental space, or you end up drinking, you know, because you're just overwhelmed.
Now, I know you because you are an award-winning speaker and you've got an academy. What is it about?
Okay, so obviously I've got the Salon So community, which is a free community for
We will
people to
get there. We will get there.
yeah.
I just want my audience to understand what type of academy is and who is the right candidate. Who is it for?
Yeah, so it's called the Profitable Salon Liberator, and it is a 6-step program that literally will take a salon owner from knowing nothing about hairdressing or nothing about running your salon. So you're a hairdresser that knows nothing about growing a business, and it will really help you get that compelling vision to know exactly what you want to achieve from your salon. It will give you the tools and the, you know, they even get downloads for it as well, of literally how they need to price, how much they need to price, how to work out exactly what their pricing is, know exactly how they can create compelling careers for their team and really competitive wages amongst any other salon. And it's also got a mindset section where you can actually really not only change your mindset as a salon owner, but create that for your team as well. Give them a growth mindset so that your team are working at their best level. And then they can also learn marketing strategies that have helped me have kind of 40K days, where I literally can take 40K in my salon in one day. But also to make sure that it's aligned with the vision of your business. And then it also has got another step that teaches, now that you are the salon owner, you're no longer the hairdresser in your business, what are your next steps? What do you do now you're creating assets? What can you do and how can you create more assets? And do you want to grow your business further? Or actually, now your business is running without you, do you want to pursue another passion that you always wanted to do, but just felt like you were in the identity of a salon owner? You know, it takes them right the way around, full circle. So, you know, literally by watching the videos, you can really change the way you're running your business. But more than that, I also give them accountability, so they can get coaching with me. They can, I say this a lot, you know, knowledge, you hear it all the time, knowledge is your power. Not really. Knowledge is, you know, how many times have you read a book and you shut that book and you might remember one or two things, but you don't necessarily implement it? Whereas when you're actually in a coaching program, it's about getting that knowledge, implementing that knowledge, and then coming back and sharing what you've learned so that you can tweak it and go back again and implement it a different way. That, I believe, is the power of coaching. So you're getting the knowledge, but you're implementing it and you're understanding it, which is a massive thing. So I believe understanding that knowledge is your power.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. So that's the academy. And
Yeah.
normally every guest that comes to my podcast has to come with a gift for the audience. So for those of you who are just watching us now, click on the button, subscribe, share it out there if you know anybody who wants to take their salon business to another level, or if you want to open your own salon business and it has been your passion, or you want to give a gift to somebody to open a business salon,
Yeah.
get in touch with Lisa Phillips. And Lisa, what is the gift you have prepared for everybody?
Okay, so I have got the Salon Soul community, which at the moment is a free community, and you are getting so much value because not only are you going to be in a community of like-minded salon owners that really want to step out their business, but also want to bring in that sustainability element, but you also get a free course, and that free course is an 8-video moduled course that by the end of it, you have created your vision and your mission statement for your business. So that it's a foundation of going on to then create that salon. So you get the free course and you come into the community. And not only that, but at the moment, you get a live coaching session with myself every single week. But this community will eventually be going up to a paid community. But it's kind of a great idea of getting to know me, getting to know what I teach. And like I said, you're going to get the foundation that I believe every salon should have of knowing your clear vision and your mission for your business.
Okay. Now, a curious question I want to ask you. You spoke of the fact that when you run your salon and it goes on autopilot without you, you increased your profitability, you increased your margins, and you could also think of what could be your next steps in terms of passion, what you want to pursue. So, what is the next big dream of Lisa Phillips?
Okay, so I'm kind of doing it because obviously, I had a fear of getting up on stages. That was my biggest problem of literally, we were winning all these awards and I had absolute fear of getting up on stage and getting those awards. Well, I've overcome that fear because now I do professional speaking and I love that, and become mentor of the year. So that's brilliant. So I think it's just really, for me, just getting that kindness out there, just telling everybody, so it's not just salon owners. I want to help other businesses to really just be kind, just be kind to everyone, because it's amazing what you get back. Often we are, well, we all know with the way the world is now that everything's so fast that we just react all the time, right? We're just constantly reacting. I just want to get that message out there. Stop reacting, just be kind, because you never know what that person's going through. So for me, it's
Mhm.
really just about inspiring any business owner. It doesn't have to be salon owners, just getting that out there as well. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. And normally, we always close the podcast with one signature question. Now, this is Lisa Phillips in the middle, who you are right now with all your experience, with all that has brought you for you to be who you are right now. Okay.
Yeah.
So now I want you to look at your left. And on your left, you're going to have the Lisa of 8 years old. And
Mm-hmm.
then the right, the Lisa of 80 years old. Now, the Lisa of today, I want you to say something, whatever that comes right now from your heart, to the Lisa of 8 years old.
What comes from my heart to the Lisa of 8 years old? What literally comes to my head,
Yes.
don't change.
Hmm.
Because I believe now, after really understanding who I am now that Lisa of 8 years old.
Wow.
Because at 8 years old, you've got no paradigms, right? You're just literally living the best life, I believe. I know I was, unfortunately not for everyone, but I was, luckily enough. And I think you get all of those, things that come in, your beliefs that you start believing in, and that stops you from doing things. Whereas now I've always thought, go back to that 8-year-old Lisa, because she was having fun. And that's what I believe I am now. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So the Lisa of eight
Yeah.
years old now would be proud to know the Lisa of today, correct?
Yeah, I think so, because it's about having
Okay,
fun, isn't it? Right?
yeah. And now look at your right, and you've got the Lisa of 80 years old. Now, what are you going to tell her?
I have a quote that is in my hallway, and it is from an 80-year-old woman. You probably all heard it before, and I can't remember how it goes, but I remember there's one bit that says, if I had my time again, I would walk barefoot more. I'd eat more ice cream. I'd dance in the rain. I do all those sort of things. And I think that's what I kind of live on, is I don't want to get to 80 and think, I wish I'd done that. I want to get to 80 and say, I did do that. And I did, not let the fear or let anything else stop me from doing all the things. I don't want to live with regret at 80. So
Okay. So now
yeah,
you look.
and
So
I
now you're
have that
looking at.
quote.
Now you're looking at the Lisa of 80 years old, and now it's you right now. What are you telling her?
Never stop learning.
Even
Never
at
stop
80
learning.
years old.
Yeah, because I believe so. I have a real guru of I mean, I'm going to show. So Bob Proctor is my absolute, and unfortunately, he's no longer here. But I've worked a lot with Bob Proctor, done a lot of his programs, and he says that you should never stop learning, because the moment you stop learning, you're flatlining. And so I would say to my 80-year-old self, don't stop learning, keep going, because then you won't be flatlining.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. And this was a wow episode because we dived in a specific expertise in a niche, and it was mind blowing. But at the same time, I have my own takeaways, which then I will apply with my clients, I will apply with my businesses. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for giving a new perspective of sustainability, and which is look at your business in terms of numbers as a business owner, look at your team in terms of build them up, develop them, allow them to grow, look at your clients, keep on serving them, your community, and then take care, be kind to the planet. And this is the real meaning of sustainability. This, for me, from this episode of podcast, this is my this was my biggest takeaway. And thank you for being vulnerable and sharing and opening up your story to the world, and hope that this could be an inspiration for those of you who want to know more about Lisa. Just go down on the description. I'm going to put all the links where you can reach out to her, and I'm going to make sure each one of you receives the gift of the
Yeah,
free community, the Salon Soul community. Thank you so much, Lisa, for adding value to us
thank
and
you.
adding value out there. And thank you for spreading kindness, and keep on spreading kindness.
Cool. That's what I love. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, all of you. And see you on the next episode. Thank you, Lisa, for being with us. And see
Thank you.
you on the next time. Ciao.
Yep. See you later.